Had the Blank, presented to you by What the Blank, and today we have the blank the what?
The blank the what?
So, I'm Braxton.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm Jackson.
And we are the three owners of What the Blank Entertainment. So, I am the COO.
I am the CEO.
And I'm the audio producer.
Yeah. So, this episode we're going to kind of go over just what is What the Blank, right? How we got started a little bit, and just really kind of our roles and what we're working on right now. So, we'll start with Brandon.
So, what the blank is What the Blank? How did What the Blank come to be? So, a couple years ago, we started as simply a strictly live entertainment theater company, where we wanted to do unique theater in unique places that theater was not supposed to happen. And it has grown a lot since then, where it was me and another partner at the time taking on very random shows and responsibilities to do mystical things. It originally developed as what was going to be a nonprofit with a full board of directors, none of which are here today except for me. and later on had developed into what we are now, as a standard LLC business, with three of us not being a board of directors, but being a BB&J, as I like to call it. And we're just a perfect sandwich mushed together that has taken just theater and expanded it far beyond that into something along the realm of talent management, theater education, and a full music studio that is growing rapidly by the day.
Yeah. So I was introduced to Brandon. We both went to college together, and we took 3 classes together in one semester.
Every semester we had a class together.
Yeah.
Every semester.
Yeah. But we started with 3. We literally had them back to back. We had like ASL.
Yeah.
And then we had Dr. Newman's class, which was the Children's for Theater and Youth.
Yeah, and then we had scenic design.
And then we had scenic design together. Or design. It was it was like theater design is what it was called. And it was literally back to back to back in the same room. Wow. Like we had one in the LA building, then we went over and one class next class.
Wow.
And we just like became really good friends, and we became friends because we both spent time in the Midwest, right? You grew up there.
Yeah, I grew up there with Jackson. Yep. I've been with Jackson since elementary school.
Yep, we grew up as kids together. We used to hang out all the time, and
Yeah, and so like we became really good friends, learned about theater together, and you started the company, and you just kept asking me for help. You're like,
I just needed a creative board, like somebody to just tell me, yeah, that's wild, that's stupid, or that's good. And so I would call Braxton and bounce off ideas, and then he just started coming to things and taking on responsibilities, and now he's grown to be here on this couch.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
In a room together.
Like we started with like improv, right? Like we
yeah.
And Brandon was like, well, I need some way to get our name out there. And I was like, why not just a random improv show in the park? And so we did that. And then he just kept asking me for stuff, and I became a stage manager, and then I created my own show with Quincy and Pals, and
you're puppeteering.
Yeah.
Puppeteering that will haunt the Utah world for the rest of its days.
And that was fun.
It was fun. It was a really good puppeting thing.
Yeah. And then like I was like, no, I'm invested. Like things need to change in the company, and I want to do the changes. Yeah. And so like that's kind of how it got started. And I'm like, I can't be a part of this company unless I'm an owner. And so I just like came in, was like, all right, let's do this thing. And I told him about the K.I.M project, like my children's theater that I wanted to do. but it wasn't named the K.I.M Project at the time.
At that time, we called it a thing to do.
Yeah.
Thing to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Which now you have a full T-shirt and everything.
Yeah,
K.I.M
You
Project.
do. Looks
Yeah.
pretty good.
yeah, we have our own logo now. It's weird. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah, so what is the K.I.M Project? Tell people about this.
Yeah, so the K.I.M Project is a children's theater program that focuses on connection, energy, and movement. Those are 3 things that not a lot of theater companies teach, but they're used in every single thing you do, right? Because you really connect with the material, you connect with anything. Like, connection's huge. Like, we connect with everything. We even connect with our phones and our computers, you know? Like, it's just huge. And then the energy that we have conveys emotion, right? Like that like primal force through us, like, shows us happiness, sadness, like, shows us all the different types of emotions we have. And by using that energy, we can convey any emotion. And we have to do something with that, and that's where movement comes in. You have to move to show, like, if you're happy or sad or anything, but you can feel that energy beforehand that turns into happiness, sadness, all these things. But the movement is what people see, right? And that's how you can show it. And so that's what's really cool about the K.I.M Project is we pretty much show that piston moving, right? We start with the very beginning of that connection, that energy, and then bam, it comes into movement and it shows like how things happen. That's the K.I.M Project. It's really fun. I'm excited I've done it in 1 school so far, and it was really well seen, and it went really well. Like,
and you dived in deep. With like straight 100 kids for like 6 classes, right?
Yeah, so it was
Crazy.
over 700 kids total.
Wow.
And it was 8 periods. So it was at Oak Crest Elementary in South Jordan area, and we had 8 different classes, and it was a really fun experience. But it was a lot. Like, it was good. Like, I was exhausted after, but it was really fun. But yeah, a lot of the kids enjoyed it. Like, and of course, kids will get bored sometimes, but like, they really had fun once I introduced characters and stories that they could like use the K.I.M Project to really like emulate. Right, emulating the characters was really fun for them, and so
And you've got to use like we got really fortunate in being able to use a professionally done show already from a professional children's author that is letting us just take his material as the backstory and run with it.
Yeah.
And he's becoming really well known too. Captain Talltale, based out of California. He has a marvelous 4-piece book. That's perfect for kids that are just learning to read.
I have that right here.
Yeah, and it's how Captain Talltale became Captain Talltale. Yeah. And it's a 4-part book series, and he's going to go over other characters in his other books, right? And
plug that in there really quick.
Yeah, so that's the first
Captain Talltale. Yep.
And it was really cool using that for the K.I.M Project, because that's what honed kids in after. Like, because they really love the games, but you have to have a purpose, right? If you don't have a purpose behind it. What's great is I actually met Todd on a cruise.
Yeah, you told me that. Yeah.
And it was kind of funny coincidence. Like, I was talking about, because I was working on Quincy and Pals, and I was saying it, and he was like, "Puppeteer? What? Huh?" Like, and he found me, and he was like, "Hey, like, let's collab, let's do something," and we've just had a great time with him. He was really great, gung-ho. Yeah. He's like, "I just want my work out there. Mm-hmm. So if you guys can bring it out to schools and stuff, like, use it, you know?" And it was so cool to be able to use that and to really, like, because he has really unique characters that are all different, you know, like, because there's Captain Talltale, there's JR, there's the like pirates who are kind of like evil level. Like,
Yeah, this isn't sponsored, by the way, but like everybody should go and check out Captain Tall.
yeah, like especially if your kids like adventures, like it's really great. And it goes over just a lot of fun stuff, and he has really unique creative characters. And so like it's really fun to act it out. And what's funny is when we were testing it, we were like, oh, the kids aren't gonna see the pictures, so they're not gonna be interested.
Yeah.
But actually, with having the kids act it out, they were like even more interested and they were like raising their hands like crazy to be a part of it. They're like, I want to do it, I want to do it. Like, and even like the 6th graders who are like harder because they're kind of in that like tween age phase.
Yeah, 'cause the story itself was based for younger
yeah,
kids.
but the thing is, they loved it. They ate it up, which I was like completely shocked by that, and they were wanting to be a part of it because of that connection, right? It all goes back, it comes full circle. Like connecting with your characters really make a lot of things happen. And then you've been working with Todd too.
I have been. I've been doing a lot of music production for him. Yeah, so when I started out with the company, I was out in Kentucky doing a pest control job, and Brandon called me up one day out of nowhere, and he was like,
I do that sometimes.
Yeah, he does do that, but
he does that a lot. He's done it twice already.
But yeah, he called me up one day, and he was like, hey, are you still doing music? I don't remember exactly how
I think that's exactly
conversation went, but yeah, it was pretty much along the lines like, are you still doing music? I'm like, yeah, I still kind of do it occasionally. He's like, oh, okay, well, are you interested in helping out with some stuff or helping out with our thing? And I was like, oh, cool, well, what are you talking about? So, well, we started a company, it's called What the Blank Entertainment, and we're looking to expand the company and grow it and build it with music. I was like, oh, that's a really cool idea. And so we started talking about it for a while. And then they told me about Captain Talltail after I came home. And I met with him over Zoom. And we were talking about some things. We had a meeting. And Todd and I finally were able to get acquainted with each other. And that's when I signed up with the company to actually start working with them as an independent contractor at first. And so I started out just making some music for Todd, and he and I were working very closely, getting some songs written for his programs and his new events and everything. And after a while, I eventually switched over, and now I'm an owner of the company. But I'm still working with Todd on new projects. We're working on a whole bunch of new things, and he's now starting a new show and event at Castle Rock Amusement Park in California. Yeah. So he's starting that in January, and
January 2024. So
yeah.
if you're nearby, go check that out.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a great show. Like he's showing us some preview stuff, and like the preview stuff was good. Like we're so excited, and he's planning on doing some like shows with us too, and like we're doing a full collab with him because he just and he loves working with us, and we love working with him. It's been a great experience. Like it's so funny, like people if you are always networking, that's like what we've kind of learned.
Yeah, networking's the best.
As a company.
Yeah, which speaking of, so we have so many different departments now. Like it started out as just playing theater, and now it's going straight into education. And then I had the idea for a very long time that music is such a big part of the entertainment industry, and I wanted to be so much bigger than just theater and going on to entertainment. And I had thoughts of everything, because we had an improv group going, stuttering and going with improv, and we started to expand to kind of the comedy center in that while doing theater. And then I was thinking, man, there's a lot of stuff happening with music. At the time, I was traveling the world doing stagehand stuff, and working on concerts as they were going on tour, and started to get the behind the scenes. How do you set up for these big stages, and how do you do events? Working down in Vegas, working in Phoenix, Colorado, all these different places. And I was like, man, we really need to add some music things to our business, because music is just the language of the world. And there's so many talented people that just, they need the connection, where they're not going to be misused by major labels or people with bad intentions. Not that all labels are bad, but there are people out there with bad intentions. And they just need a fresh start, a place to go, a little bit of direction, and the ability to just get custom music, even for non-singers. Like Captain Talltale, he just needs background music for his shows. And then that's when I had contacted Jackson, and now he has taken what was originally just a few audio pieces, and he's building an entire department based off audio and music production itself. And do you want to talk more about that?
Yeah, actually, I would love to. So I would also like to give a little background as to how I got started in music anyway, just to kind of help people kind of get an idea of, you know, me and my talent and what I do. But since I was really young, I've always been more inclined to play with musical instruments, and I've always been interested in playing with like different sounds and everything. My mom used to have this little keyboard, this little Yamaha keyboard that had some interesting sounds on it and everything, and like every day after school I'd go home and just play on that keyboard, and I'd always ask my mom, I'm like, can you put on the fun sounds? And like I'd like have her put on these like different sounds. My mom actually used to write music, by the way. She used to write children's music.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where I got my creativity from, was from my mom, because my dad isn't like that. He's an artistic person, like he can draw, because that's what he does for a living. He draws houses. But anyway, so my mom had that keyboard, and I would used to just go down there and play on that keyboard all the time, and I'd make up these fun like little pieces of music and everything. And there's like a cool little option on that little keyboard that you could press play, and it would play like a background song in the back, and then you could play the keyboard along with it. You can change the chord of the song and everything while you're playing, and I used to do that a lot. And eventually I got to the point where I just wanted to start writing my own music and actually like try to do something with it. And when I was about 12 or 13-ish, when the iPad and iPod started coming out and being big, my dad used to have the first generation iPad, which had GarageBand on it.
Yeah.
And so I used to write and put music in that all the time, but obviously it's GarageBand, so it's not made for like really good stuff, but it was fun to play with. And I remember my sister used to be able to sing really well. I don't know how well she does now. I haven't heard her recently, but you know, she used to be really good. And her and I used to write music all the time together. I would sit down at the keyboard and the piano, and I would play and write something on the piano or keyboard, and my sister would just come over and just start singing some random tunes, and it would eventually just sound really good. And so we got to the point where we would actually end up being asked about a talent show that was happening in a town next door to us, and we wrote a song. It was kind of like an EDM, like electric song, and I wrote the entire thing for it. I was doing a solo on one end, and I had the beat playing on the other end and everything. My sister wrote all the lyrics and the songwriting and everything, and we got second place in the talent show, which was really cool. You know, it was fun, but yeah, so anyway, I just kept growing from there, and I got just kept getting more stuff, and then now here I am working with the company and building the department, and we are currently in search of people to help out. We're looking for more producers to help with certain other projects eventually, so we can split off projects so everything's not just on me. But but it's fun working with Todd, especially. I really enjoy working with him. He's really nice, and he's really communicative, and I really like what he does. And working on his projects has actually been teaching me a lot of really interesting things about my creativity and how to unlock like certain things in my brain that I've never really tried to tap into before. Because now that I'm actually working for someone else, and it's someone else's song instead of mine, because that's all I did before. I would just do my own songs, and occasionally I would work with someone else, but it would still be my song. But now it's entirely for someone else, and so now I've had to like kind of readjust the way that I think about music and think about my talent. And I've had to think about it in a way like, oh, I'm doing this for somebody else, so I need to make sure it's the way that they want it. Whether it sounds incredible or not, doesn't matter. If they like it, all I have to do is just add my part and make it sound really good and then send it off to them, and that's all that matters.
It has to be incredible to them.
Yes, because that's what matters the most, is what the client or the customer wants. That's the thing. And especially with someone like Todd, whose entire thing is performing in front of a whole crowd of people, you want to make sure that stuff is really good. And music, it's very strange, because it's either really good or it's terrible. There's like no in between. You don't ever have like a song that you listen to, you're like, eh. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure you've heard songs where you're just like, nah, but that usually means it's not good. Because you're not, that doesn't mean you're gonna go listen to it over and over again. That's when a really good song comes around, and that, you only hear that from like ultra pop stars or like rock stars or something like that, you know what I mean?
Well, and usually they have a whole team, you know, like that studies all that, and it's like, I think it's incredible, like, because I've heard some of the stuff you've done, and you really try to implement what feedback you get, you know, and you really know how to like make a sound really like change, you know, like because like we heard some of your beginning stuff for Captain Talltail, and then he was like, do these tweaks, and then the tweaks made whole different, and it like and it's like, wow, this sounds like a professional performer, you know, like, well, like before, it's not that it was bad, it was just like it didn't come together,
it didn't resonate entirely the way that originally was thought about, which is what I've taught myself too, and I had to teach myself all this stuff too. Let's
talk about that. You're completely like non-traditional. Where Braxton went to school, got so deeply involved in the education system, to now that like he teaches in the education system as well. You're self-taught from when you were just single digits year old.
Yes, actually, yeah. I mean, since I was about 8 years old, I started. I mean, I didn't really teach myself when I was like 8, but I was interested at least. And ever since then, you know, every year I've been learning a little bit more here. I tried to go to school for a little bit for music. I was only there for less than half a semester, and I dropped out because it just wasn't the same in school. Because they teach you a certain structure that you have to follow, you have to do it a certain way, blah, blah, blah. And it just wasn't the same for me. And I lost my creativity at a point, and I was like, this isn't fun. And so the professor actually had us do an assignment before I actually ended up dropping out, where they wanted us to create an entire song, but he wanted us, instead of using the drum track, instead of using a live recording set or the keyboard to record the drums, he wanted us to do this thing called a piano roll, which in typical music software, there's a thing called a piano roll, which is where if you click on an instrument and you open it opens up this little section that has all of the notes and all the instruments that are in that MIDI file. And the MIDI file is basically just what connects the keyboard to the computer, which allows you to actually play it and change the way it sounds. So if you open that up, it tells you where all the notes are, it shows you all the different notes and everything, and that was the assignment, was to create a drum track only using that piano roll. And that was what we did. And everyone else in the class, you know, they were like super heavily into it, they were having fun with it. I just wasn't, but I did it anyways, because I've done that stuff so many times before in the past, before I started going to that school. And so I knocked it out within 2 weeks. And I mean, it took me a little bit less time than that, but it was due in 2 weeks. And so, you know, I just kind of took my time, did everything that I needed to. I made it really nice, and I did it professionally, the way that I taught myself how to, not the way that he tried teaching us. And I just used my own creativity and my imagination to make it happen. And all the other students in there were doing it the way that they were taught. They were using the structure. They were, you know, going through all the motions that they were told to do. And I remember by the time it was time to submit the projects, he actually ended up wanting to show the music to everyone in the class, so that we could all hear what everyone's songs sound like. And he ended up picking me first. I don't know why, but he picked me first, and I actually ended up doing a jazz and bebop type song. So if you think about like a bebop song from like the 40s or 30s, it's really fast, you know, stuff like that. It's really fast, really energetic.
Railroad tracks.
Yes,
like
yes, exactly. Yes, exactly like that. And so that's the type of song that I went for. Everyone else was doing like a rap beat or an EDM beat or pop or something like that. So everyone else was like using some cliche thing that's easy to make. Most EDM beats are just using a 4x4 beat, which is, it's super easy to do. You can do that literally just by tapping on the space bar. It's not hard. But what I did, I had literally so many different combinations in there. I had so many different, like, just everything. And I presented the thing to him. I sent it to his school email. He pulled it up, he played it, and literally after that song was done, the first thing he does, I don't remember exactly what he said, but the first thing he does is like, this is what you guys should have done. Whatever you guys had, like, this is what you guys should have done for your projects. And he used my project as the example of what should have been done. And I don't mean to like boast about it or like toot my own horn, but it made me feel like I was kind of wasting my time at school. And we listened to everyone else's songs, and everyone else was just...
This was the first project, right?
This was our very first like actual project, and I killed it the first time because I taught myself everything before that time, whereas everyone else was already starting. Or they already had some experience, but they were learning it from a school perspective rather than doing it through their creativity. So everyone else had really cliche sounding normal songs which just didn't really resonate with anyone. And even I could even see some of the other students listening to each other's songs and they're like, nah. And even other students, like one kid was like kind of pissed at me because he was thinking I was like a show off or something, or like a teacher's pet. I don't know what his deal was, but he was jealous of some sort. And he didn't like me because of that. But after that, I realized I was just wasting my time in school because they were just starting to teach me stuff that I already knew and that I had taught myself years ago. And so it just made sense for me to just leave. And I just did that, and now we're here. So, I mean, yeah, we're still starting out, and we're building as we go, but that's really all we can do. Just keep building and keep growing and just seeing where it goes from here. So, and now I'm actually working with clients and we're building. So, yeah.
Big things for really big, fast-growing companies.
Yeah, it's happening really quick too.
Yeah.
And literally in the last like 3 months alone, a lot has happened so far. So,
yeah. No, and it's crazy, like, all the growth that we're doing together. And the thing is, like, yes, we're separate sections, but we really do everything together, Because, like, yes, you work on your music, and I work on my theater and stuff, but we always check in with each other, which I feel like is a...
It's like every day we're on the phone with each other.
Yeah.
We are a team, even though it's, like, separate departments.
Yeah.
Whether it's like texting, phone call, Marco Polo, Zoom, whatever it is, we're always setting up meetings or at least trying to communicate with each other about different things. So
yeah, it communication really helps a business grow quickly, because if you're not communicating, you're dying, to be honest, like, because you don't know what else is going on to push you forward. Like really, like, all this stuff with Todd made me feel like, okay, I need to step up my game a little bit and keep going. And that's why I set up the K.I.M project. Yeah, like, with that school, like, yes, I might not be able to get all those kids, like, in the program, but they learned that and they enjoyed it, right? And that's all I can ask for. Right.
It's just finding ways to make people feel good about their art and to know that this is possible in your life. There is a pathway. Whether a hobby or professional, like, there is a pathway. And we can help each other grow. Not everything's a competition, but everything can be collaboration.
And especially with creative outlets, everyone needs to have a creative outlet of some sort. It doesn't have to just be music or theater or acting or whatever it is. A creative outlet of some sort, literally anything that allows your creativity to just flow, is an amazing way to relieve stress. And it helps you actually show yourself and show others that you can do something interesting. And that's what people want. People want to feel like they're interesting. You know what I mean? Especially when you have a conversation with someone. Most people talk about themselves, or they talk about something that they're interested in. Because if they're not talking about something that's interesting, they don't want to talk.
Yeah.
Because then it's boring, you know what I mean? That's why creativity is so interesting, and that's why it makes us love what we do. Because we have so much creativity that's just bubbled up in our heads. You know what I mean? We just gotta let it out. That's why every time we come up with really cool ideas, we're like, oh my gosh, that's an amazing idea. And that's just how creativity goes. You have really good ideas, you put it out there, and you just get feedback and see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, and what's funny is, like, you can get burnt out even with things you love, right? And it's mainly because there's just so much that you're doing. Yeah. Like with me right now, like, because I am getting my theater degree, I just finished most of my stuff, right? Like, it, and so, like, I was kind of burnt out with theater, but what I did to, like, kind of overcome that is I actually took a ceramics class that helped me be creative, and I could create all these things, and I did all these ceramic pieces for my family, and it helped me actually, like, push through that like, that lull, right? And I was able to just like, all right, yeah, let's be creative. Let's go do these things and let's create the K.I.M project bigger. And like, it was that drove me, because I was able to like de-stress, put all that stress into something else. And I feel like that's something we're teaching, right? Because I think we're always teaching, to be honest. Like, that's what I've learned from being the education person, right? You're always teaching someone, whether you like it or not. Because you're always learning, you're always growing, you're always finding new things. And so it's really fun. And I really enjoyed this experience. And it's really crazy to see how much we've grown since like August, you know?
It's come a lot in just a few months. We've only had the music department for a few months, and it's growing crazy.
We've already got some helpers working on other projects. We've already got other people that, you know, that we could use in the future for more projects, and we're just growing. Like, we're building everything, so it's happening, man. I'm excited to see where this goes in the next year alone, especially if we've already grown this much in the last 3-4 months. Imagine how well we're going to start doing in about a year or two from now, when we actually have a full department built.
The people that we can help. That's the big goal right there.
Because we're a people company. We're theater and music and talent management and all these things. But
we are labeled as an entertainment company, but the core basis of everything we do is based on people.
Because we care about you guys. That's why we make these videos, you know, and we're doing this podcast, because we actually want people to understand like why we're here and why we're doing these things, right? And definitely keep following us, right?
Keep following us: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, our website, What the Blank Entertainment, everywhere that there is to be. And if you're listening to us on audio, then come and check us out on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, look for us where you can find podcasts, because a lot of these set-down conversations are going to be streamed there as well.
And we're going to have a lot more fun videos, and so please keep watching. And this was How the Blank, about what the blank.
How the what the blank.